Hey, it's Suzy here. I'm going to be replacing my DC motor on my Janome MB4. Yes, I'm going to do this by myself. Not sure it's going to work afterwards, but I'm going to give it a try. So I have pre-gotten my screwdriver that came with the machine and the little screwdriver, a pair of tweezers, some Q-tips, my Windex, my handy pink little Dollar Tree glasses, scissors, another screwdriver that has a magnetic tip, and other adjustable, other bits, and a flashlight, a notepad and a pen, a little basket to keep some of the parts out of off the top of my machine, and maybe anything bigger that's going to come out. And another little box that has dividers that I will put parts in. And I started taking some of these parts out, but I'm going to go back because I was following another YouTube tutorial, and this one is obviously different than the other one. So to get this left side off the machine to get to the motor, I decided I needed to make a tutorial on this, and then it'll help me to go back and make sure that I put it back the way I took it. So I'm going to start left to right as I take it off, and any parts, and then I'll go into each one of these subdivided trays, so then I'll work in reverse on my way back. Does that make sense? So you can do it any way you like to organize. I had this empty tray handy, so this is what I'm going to use. Alright, so we're going to go to the top and start removing. Oh, excuse me. First of all, unplug your machine. Make sure there's no power going to your machine. Safety first. Okay, again, my machine is unplugged, and I had started taking this off as I explained earlier. So this is where, the dust and everything, so it's a good time to clean this up before you start removing any parts so you don't get any dust inside of here. And so then this screwdriver, it's, what do you call it, a Phillips head? The one that came with the machine will fit all three of these screws. So if you just untighten these, and you might have to use a little bit of pressure to turn it, but they go clockwise. I'm not going to take the screws out. I'm going to leave these sitting in here, and I'm going to just lift this off. I had already clipped my threads and everything off and wiped all the front end down and everything else. So I'm going to set this over here. The screws are there, so I won't have to find those. Okay, so this is where I ran into the problem. I have a little screwdriver that came with the machine, and there's these little caps, and there's a little edge on a little lip on the cap, and you'll see it when you look. So you're going to have to remove a cap here, a cap here, a cap here, and a cap here, and then one on the rear of the machine below the self-winding knob. I do believe that's what it's called. I might call stuff doohickey and all kinds of other southern names. I was raised in the South, and excuse my southern drawl. But anyway, we're going to remove these, and we're going to put them in the first compartment. Then I'm going to take this the screwdriver that came with the machine. It's the Phillips head again, and I'm going to remove all of these screws. And I came across that you had to remove this one, and this is the attachment for when you're self-winding your bobbins. This one had to come off to get the side off. So make sure the screwdriver fits that. So that one went into a different compartment. And then when I removed the back screw back here, it was shorter. So that one went into a different compartment as well. So then, here was a trick. It didn't just lift off. I had to grab my little screwdriver again, and there was little places where you could see little indents. So I had to pop that loose, and pop that loose, and kind of pop it loose up here in the front, and kind of wiggle it a little loose on the side, and on the back as well. There was two little places, really one at the bottom, and then kind of lift it up here at the bottom with a screwdriver, being careful not to apply a lot of force, but just enough to do it. But the trickiest one was one directly up underneath here. Of course, I can't get my head in there to go look. So I got my flashlight that I had, and I shined it, and I looked, and you'll see a little plastic little indentation there. So I finally figured out that the little cutout, and I'll show you the little cutout when I get the side off. But anyway, I didn't apply a lot because I didn't want to break anything, and I finally wiggled it around where it popped it loose, and then voila, my side came off. It did. I guarantee it did. So hold on just a minute, because I kind of slid it back on to show you guys, so I don't know if anything kind of fastened back down again. So without breaking anything, there we go. It was hung up on the bottom. This wire here has a disconnect. This goes to your light. Yeah, so it runs down right here to this little bottom light that's down here that lights up so you can see to thread your needles. So I'm going to just take my fingers and just pop that off. Very easy. And not tugging on these little wires, because you don't want to tug on them because they're liable to come loose, and that'll be a whole total nightmare. So we have one here in the back for the bobbin winder. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab the front end edge of that and pop it loose, and then it'll just slide back in. And that's what runs the electricity to those. But make sure you grasp very firmly onto that, no wire pulling. Okay, and so I said I was going to show you that little piece. There it is. You got to go up in that little hole to pop that one loose to get the side to release. And there's nothing much to this except for you got your little I can't remember what you call these. It's a board. I do know that. With the wire that goes to the bobbin, and this one, like I said, goes to the light. Alright, before I get started too much, I'm going to take a real good look around, and I'm going to, my Q-tip with a little Windex on it, and kind of clean up some little areas that probably need to be cleaned. It's probably not going to hurt anything, but I'm going to look and make sure there's nothing loose in there, like any threads or anything else like that. And when I had taken it off earlier, I had used my tweezers and pulled out a few little dust bunnies. So that one just left. We'll get him later. So they were hidden up here and down there, and so I got those kind of free. And I'm going to leave my Q-tip and my dampened paper towel right here in case I see anything else. This looks like the motor that's going to be replaced. It looks like this is going to have to move over to get it out. And I'm checking the tightness on this belt. This belt looks really good. And we're going to turn it and make sure that this belt does not have any cracks or anything, because might have to stop with this and come back later and replace this. I don't want any issues. There's a back belt here too. That looks pretty good. I'm going to take my flashlight. This is another little one. And I'm going to check it out. And that looks good as well. It looks like I haven't pulled my other motor out, but I'm going to pull my other motor out and make sure it matches this. But it looks like I have 2 screws here to take off, and looks like I'm gonna have to have an Allen wrench. I'm gonna open up my box that I ordered from Murphy's. I ordered my motor from murphysewcenter.com in Owensboro, Kentucky. Really nice folks. So I'm gonna open up this box, take the motor out, and examine and make sure it matches up to this one. Okay, we're back. We found out, should have known better, that this is a Japan-made machine, that it was metric, and then a 2.5 for these 3 in the rear. And also found out my motor's matched, and woohoo! It's just a plug and play. So we're gonna unplug the one that goes to this motor, which looks like this bottom one here, and we don't have to take the plate off with the Phillips head. We just have to do the 3 with the Allen's wrench. Shouldn't be any problems lining this booger back up. So I'm going to get started on loosening this up and unplugging. Alright, so I'm going to use my little screwdriver and I pry that up a little bit, and that should pop this out. Don't want to damage this at all. Okay, maybe I didn't need a screwdriver. Just needed to pull on it just a little bit harder. So we're going to get the smaller Allen wrench. It looks like some paint has been painted on this to line these back up so you get the right tension. So we're going to see about that. I'm almost pretty sure that's what that is. I'll put these in my little box because it's the next ones that I removed. I don't use anything in that one. And as I loosen up the third one, it's already starting to come loose. I see some dust I need to get too. As this is coming loose, I see some, like some belt wear. Looks like that's going to slide out, and we have our old motor. Looks fine, but what they worry about is the brushes on the motor. They know that they're going to wear out. You can probably get up to another 200 hours on the machine off of this motor. I went over just a little bit, but it's eventually going to go. So before I put the new motor back in reverse, I'm going to take my Q-tip and clean this off. Where I saw a little residue from, looks like the belt. So now we're going to go in reverse. Hopefully this will go smoothly. Gently lift those wires up and go slide back in there with this motor. Go ahead and put this belt back on. Okay, it looks like I got everything lined right back up like it was before. And so, starting to reverse on my organizing box, I am going to pre-start my bolts. I don't know what you call these things. One to hold it in place so I can let my hands free a little bit and tighten them back up. It looks like everything's still in the right place. It looks like there's a little small washer and then a bigger washer. Those didn't come off in my tray, so I picked them back up to put them back in place. And they're all 3 the same size, so we don't have to worry. Okay, now. I'm gonna hook this piece back in. There's some little wires. Be careful not to bend those little wires, and hopefully it'll snap back in easier than it came out. I want to say that's in. I don't hear a snap. Well, if it doesn't work, we'll come back and go back and do it again. So I'm going to do one more check, make sure there's no dust or anything like that. Figured out that if you slide it this way or this way, because there's groove notches cut out, and that's how you tighten up the belt. So I believe that this is not over tightened and tightened back, and then also the factory mark says to let them know that each one of those is tightened, I believe. So that's what we're going on, and we're going to stick to it, and we're going to hope this machine works. I cleaned it up some more with some Q-tips, got some more gunk out, went and got my can of air, and blew out a little bit more. Also grabbed my oil, but I don't see anything in here that needs oiling, so I think I'm gonna leave that alone. So, and also figured out that we gotta put the machine back together before we try it out. Hopefully it'll snap back together as easy. So I got the side. I gotta remember to hook this one back up into here. And, well, I guess I had it upside down. It looked like it went one way. Alright, and then this one is for the bob and rewind. It's got to get hooked back up. Okay, that looks good. Go on, go on, go on. Okay, I think that's good. Alright, you should snap all back in. Those snapped. Ha! Ooh, it's popping right back into place. So those are the ones that you gotta pop to get out. That one seems like it snapped. That was easy. Okay, so I'm going back in my compartments and I'm gonna put them back in the way I took them out. Leave that one goes there. And this is pretty easy because that piece goes in that little hole. Okay, this one was the short screw for the back. We have 4 more screws to put in. This one's a long. Okay. Seemed like a lot of twirling on that one. I'm gonna go back and make sure they're all snug as a bug. Okay, now I put the top back on. Line those holes up, and the screws I left in there, remember? So tighten these. and I'm gonna go back and make sure they're snug. Now we have the little cover pieces. Those were all the same, so we're just gonna go ahead, trusting that this machine is properly put back together, and pop those back in. They just are screw hiding covers. That's all that is. And I think that light, just thought about that. Yep, that's there. We're gonna fire this baby up. All right, no extra parts left here, so that's good. So we know we didn't miss anything. The only other thing I didn't stick back was those little cushion pads, but I'll do that later. All right, so here's the test. Threaded my machine. We're powering it up. We're gonna do whatever comes up on here, and if it works, then I'm gonna reset it. It says my needle bar is out of position, so I don't know why that one's saying that, but anyway, we're gonna, okay, keep hands clear. Says replace the DC motor, and we're going to take a picture of this. Hold on just a second, so you know what this code looks like. And I'll show you in a minute how to reset and check the hours on your machine. So, and give you the links so you can print it up yourself. It looks like everything's going. Woohoo! Clip that thread. We're not going to sew out the whole thing. I'm just going to sew whatever is right here right now. And make sure this machine runs proper. It's going to stitch out of Alabama A. I'm sorry, I am in Alabama. Roll Tide. Stitched out the Alabama A out of this design, and I'm going to stop it here. I only put one piece of thread, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. We are going to reset the motor. This should go back in and set our timing, so our hours on the machine, so it'll count down again to the next motor replacement, which is 1,000, I believe. But anyway, I'm going to go in and check the hours on it and show you how to do that, and then I'm going to reset the motor. Alright, we're going to hold down the forward button and the bobbin button at the same time, holding them, and we're going to turn on the machine. This should tell us how many hours this machine has had on it. There we go. Alright, it's had 9,157 power hours, and the drive has 1,001 hour on it. So I could have gone a little bit longer on that motor, and see, that's what the motor has on it. We're going to hit clear right here, and we're going to turn, this is going to reset this motor hour, so we shouldn't get that message anymore when we start it up. So hit clear, and we're going to power it off. That's what this says, and this link will be in there so you can print this up and have this for yourself for future references. Powering it back up. Hopefully no DC motor. Okay. Moving into position and resume live power. Oh, we have done it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, comment below, and give me some thumbs up. If this woman can do it, anybody can do it. It was easy peasy.